Hello, welcome. We'll take just a few minutes, let everybody in the waiting room join us. Nice to see everyone. Welcome, welcome. Folks are joining in. Thank you. Welcome. Nice to have you all join us today. Great. Spotlighting folks. Thank you, Michelle, for that. All right. Looks like the waiting room is emptied. Hello, my name is Shakura Martin. I'm the Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students. It is my pleasure to help host this student town hall today. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle. Michelle, our amazing Student Life staff member, who's going to review some housekeeping.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Just some quick housekeeping. Please keep yourselves on mute. If you have a question, please chat it to me directly, or you can send it to the Dean of Students at mills.edu if you prefer. This meeting will also be recorded and posted shortly after the meeting on the campus community intranet page. And if you have any technical questions, you can chat me as well.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate all your support. I'd like to start, as we do with major events, in person and virtual, with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land and labor of the Ohlone people, whose connection to this land we remember, and whose presence, past, present, and future, we respect. As a part of the Mills mission of supporting and fostering learning through the generation and dissemination of knowledge, we acknowledge that the land we are meeting on today is the original homeland of the Ohlone people. And wherever you are, I highly encourage you to do a little research and think about the indigenous peoples of your community. If you're interested in doing so, or you'd like more information, I'm happy to provide that. Drop me an email and I can send you some resources. So I want to do a few updates. One is on behalf of our Associated Students of Mills College. I believe our student government president is here. Meredith Cohen. They are still seeking folks who are interested in ASMC positions. So if you are interested in being an ASMC and representing your student government, please email asmcpres@mills.edu and they would love to have you participate. Also, if you were in the state of California, today is a voting day and you are able to or registered to vote, please go vote. It is your right and opportunity. So we encourage you to vote. You can vote if you're here on campus, right here on campus in the student union. So please do that. We also will have convocation on the 24th of this month. If you're, please, attend convocation. There's an email going out to all students, particularly our seniors. Special events will be held for you, including the senior breakfast. So please check that out and join us at convocation, a wonderful event. And lastly, our great professionals at CAPS, Counseling and Psychological Services, are hosting a debrief today at 3 o'clock for students and students only. So if you'd like to attend that, please, Michelle will post that information in the chat. So you can check that out. And that's a space just for our students. So again, thank you for those who've just come in. My name is Shakura Martin. I'm the Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students. I use they, them pronouns, and it is my privilege to be able to host this student forum today. This will be one of many student opportunities for dialogue throughout the semester that we offer. This one, we're hosting some of our senior leaders here at Mills, including our president, President Beth Hillman, our provost, Pat Hardaway, and our associate provost, Christy Chung. I'm excited to have all of them here with you. At some future town hall experiences, we'll be bringing in other folks across campus to make sure to provide information to our students directly. And there's also closed captioning options. If you'd like to activate those in your system, you can do that. And again, this is being recorded and will be posted on the community page on the intranet for your future viewing. So I would like to turn it over now for a welcome and some comments from our president, President Beth Hillman.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. And I want to thank Michelle and everybody on the DSL team for coming together to create some opportunities for us to engage and interact. And today is a momentous day. This is the first time that I'm talking to any group of Mills stakeholders. It makes sense that I'm talking to our students since you are at the absolute center of our mission at Mills College about a historic merger between Mills College and Northeastern University. So if you're checking your email, you probably saw that message come in. This morning, our Board of Trustees met. They were able to meet and actually vote for the first time in over a month because of an injunction from a court that had prevented them from being able to actually act on the opportunity to potentially merge with Northeastern. And this morning, the board was able to vote and approve the merger with Northeastern. So I thought I'd share with you a little bit about what I expect over the next year as we move ahead. I'll talk to you a little bit about what we expect over the year ahead, the timeline, how we got here, and actually what we anticipate moving ahead, and also share a little bit more about the, for those of you interested in things legal, the litigation and the financial issues that have brought us to this space. So first of all, the timeline. We anticipate this will enable us to ensure we can serve our students through the rest of this academic year and beyond. Through this academic year, we will be Mills College. Next academic year, we anticipate we will be Mills College at Northeastern University. We will continue to grant degrees as Mills College at Northeastern University. We will, the degrees that students will earn through this spring will be Mills College degrees as the independent institution we've long been. Then after that, the degrees that will be earned at Mills will be Mills College at Northeastern University degrees. This enables us to support our staff and faculty at a time when we weren't sure we had the resources because of declining enrollment and the COVID pandemic and plenty of other issues. We weren't sure we had enough resources to even get through this year. So I'm grateful that we'll be able to care not only for our students, but for our staff and our faculty as well. And we're looking to build a transformative model for 21st century education to bring the very best of Mills College into the network of Northeastern University campuses, enable us to secure our mission of supporting women's leadership, opportunities for gender equity, to support students who aren't well served by other institutions, including BIPOC students, including the LGBTQ community that Mills has long counted as central parts of its constituency. And Northeastern is interested in enabling Mills to continue to do that. So the timeline then, we got to this place by being in a challenging financial situation that led us to look to other academic partners. We were in conversation with many different academic partners over time. Last spring, we realized that none of those conversations at that time would enable us to continue long enough into the future as an independent college to be able to serve our students through their degree aspirations. And so we announced that we had to change we announced we had to move towards a teach out last spring and actually let our students know, because our obligation is to you, our commitment is to you, that you'll be able to finish your studies at Mills should you start here. We had to tell you what we anticipated. So we made that announcement in the spring. After that point in time, other prospective partners came forward and Mills engaged in additional conversations with them. One institution shot to the top of the potential partners as one that would enable Mills to sustain its current community, continue its mission, secure its campus, develop and improve its campus, and actually be around for generations still long into the future. And that was Northeastern University. So our board of trustees had access to all of the information and due diligence we could do around Northeastern. We engaged with different campus constituents as we moved through the process of developing an agreement with Northeastern University. And today our board was able to approve a historic merger agreement for Mills College. Should we be able to continue on this track, and we fully expect to, Mills would become part of Northeastern on July 1st of 2022. Until that point in time, the current leadership will stay and will continue to support our students. And we will share more about what opportunities Northeastern will, in the short term, the medium, and the long term, bring to the students on our campus and our other stakeholders. So in terms of there were some questions that came in around resources. Because of the support of Northeastern University, we fully anticipate being able to support our community, including the needs of our students, through the academic year upon us. Second, the court case is a sort of unpredictable challenge for us, and we're going to continue to reckon with that. But we're very grateful that today we were able to make the vote that we had been working towards for many months now to secure the future of Mills. Okay, I think that's the initial opening piece that I wanted to set out, and so maybe we'll turn to some of the other questions that have come in and are coming in now.
Great, thank you, President Hillman. So one of the questions specifically talks about transfer agreements, timelines for transfer agreements, and that was from the conversation back in March for students who've been ongoing and communicating that. And Associate Provost Chung, I was wondering if you'd be able to just give a brief update on where we are with those and what students should expect.
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So there are a few transfer pathways that are available for students, but with this Northeastern partnership, we have new opportunities. So we would like students to, consider the opportunities that are given right now with this new partnership, and think a little bit about what makes sense, for you. So I think the next step would be to meet with your faculty advisors. You could meet with me as well to talk about what your goals are academically and what kind of pathways would make sense for your degree. So there are pathways that are available. We will let you know about those very soon in an email announcement. And a website would also be available for you to look at those details as well.
Great, thank you so much. And I want to echo, I think, with what Associate Chung said. We've been exploring many partnerships. And many of those schools had asked for us and provided information for us to release in September. That was part of those really important pathway agreements. And we do hope to be able to provide that information this month, but this will open up some really great opportunities for students. So we want to make sure to include those as well so that students have a full picture of what they can do. You can also reach out at that time. We'll make announcements to a team including our academic navigators, your faculty advisors, and some of our staff working from the admissions side of Mills to be able to get that. So we'll send that out to you as soon as it's finalized to make sure you can explore all those options together. So a question, President Hammond, I think this is specifically around timeline too, but with the merger, will applications for new students be open again? And what can we expect, I think, when we think about Mills College at Northeastern?
We do anticipate that we will open applications for new students again, and we need to engage, especially our faculty, in conversation with Northeastern around what programs specifically will continue and how admissions will work in the new institution that will be building Mills College at Northeastern. But we will open applications again for students. We also expect that Northeastern will fully support the current anticipated costs of attendance for our students, so that Mills students who continue at Mills College at Northeastern will not see an increase in the costs that they'd have to incur in order to achieve their goals by earning degrees from us. And that's a critical part of the agreement and a significant investment in our students, as well as the opportunities that will come to graduates of Mills. So Northeastern has a large array of graduate programs and offers a discount on its graduate programs to its own students. That discount will come to Mills students as soon as we move into this merger. So that's another opportunity that will affect students and graduates of Mills College into the future.
Thank you so much for that. And that addresses one of our other questions, specifically around supporting students financially. That has been a question around being able to complete degrees, and that has been a commitment in this partnership, and really, I think, central to what for the folks who are working with this partnership, making sure that students not only could graduate from Mills College or be at Mills College and Northeastern, but not incur more debt that they were doing right now, or having to face higher costs, because that's been a really important part of our access component as well. So I appreciate that that has been central to that agreement. So let me just kind of read through some of the questions. Specifically talking about what can we expect, and I think maybe Provost Hardaway, could you talk a little bit about the conversations you're having with faculty and what that looks like as far as how they're thinking about the degree offerings at Mills College and Northeastern, both short-term and sort of the longer-term pieces. I think we have lots of questions about, will my degree will be here? What will that look like from our students?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and it's my absolute joy to be part of your town hall. I've been speaking with my counterparts at Northeastern since late June, early July, and the first order of business is to look at the offerings here at Mills and, in a broad, expansive way, determine how we can transition the offerings here into the Mills at Northeastern entity. And the approach we're taking is a broad one. It is an inclusive one, which means that we are not selecting certain programs and deselecting others, but we're presenting all of the robust academic offerings that Mills has to Northeastern. Right now, our deans and department chairs and academic program directors are preparing descriptive summaries of each program that Mills offers, and we will be communicating with our counterparts at Northeastern as to the best way that we can transition all of those programs. So our objective is to assure that the current programs continue in some fashion, and that in addition, students will have an even broader array of academic choices to complete their degrees. So we're at the very beginning of that piece of the work. We will be completing the descriptive summaries within a few weeks and beginning those conversations with Northeastern. You're welcome to send me an email or to connect with Dr. Chung about your concerns with relative to your specific program, but we really won't have the details for another month or so.
Great, thank you so much. And for students, if you're posting questions, I know some people are sending me questions. If you could send your questions directly to Michelle, she's creating a list, a document that I can work through. I want to make sure to keep up with all the questions and be able to honor those. And also, if we don't get to any of your questions, they'll be in the document, and we will use those to inform our frequently asked questions, and we will make those available online post this. We want to make sure to answer as many questions as we can, but we know we won't get to all of them, and I don't want to lose any of those in the chat. So please send those to Michelle and or email Dean of Students at Mills, and we'll start to capture those. So I appreciate it. Thank you. There is some questions a little bit about where Mills College at Northeastern will be, and I think I can speak to that, which is it's going to be right here in Oakland. This will be the campus. There in the agreement specifically specifies a very long-term commitment, 99 years, and that's a pretty common contractual term to use, 99 years, but way past when we will be here, but a commitment to making sure that this is an institution of higher education committed to the mission that Mills has really invested in. But we also have this other component, and I know it's kind of a little bit nebulous, but there's some work really around the Mills College Institute, and lots of students ask, what is an institute? Why do I care? And lots of schools who've changed their direction have also created an institute within the organization. That institute will have support and funding from Mills College at Northeastern, from our endowment, to really be able to continue the mission around racial and gender justice within the organization. So there's lots of ways that the Mills mission will continue and grow and be a part of Mills College at Northeastern. So if you want more information, we'll definitely be getting that out. And that's kind of a separate entity, but I just want to let you know that there's this academic component, Mills College at Northeastern, but there's also this other piece, the Mills College Institute. And we'll make sure to share more of that with students, especially probably for some of our MPP students, our grad students who are really interested in policy and stuff like that. And our undergrads, we have lots of great undergrads interested in sort of organizational research and stuff. This might be really interesting for you to learn more about. So definitely. So there's a couple questions specifically like, so what's next? Could anything derail this? You know, they heard a lot about this lawsuit and that, and they're a little concerned and worried. And President Hellman, could you talk a little bit about like kind of where we are and what we must do from sort of a legal perspective, and or, you know, what we're making sure to do to communicate around those next steps?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Martin. It's a great question. The legal complexities of a merger agreement are expansive, and that's complicated by the sort of political and social and cultural challenges that come with making change at an institution that has been so important in so many people's lives for such a long period of time. And we take that obligation very seriously to bring our community with us into this. We are now setting up the transition process where we'll seek to engage all the stakeholders now that we know what we're doing. You know, until we reached this point, we didn't have the broad outlines of the potential alliance clear. Now that we do, we can engage our faculty to help build the academic programs, as well as with our staff and students. We want to talk to students especially about the legacy of Mills, the traditions of Mills, the ways in which we want to carry forward things that are critical to the campus, like the land acknowledgement and the importance of Indigenous peoples in the history of the Mills College campus. We want to bring our focus on anti-racism with us into the alliance with Northeastern. Now, the lawsuits are a piece of this. We rarely can move ahead with complete consensus when we're making big changes in institutions. We want to bring all of our community with us and respect as many people as we can. And we realize there are diverse perspectives on what direction Mills ought to take and what should happen next. We will seek to continue to engage and talk to everybody about this and to understand what their concerns are. And I know too, one of the questions is why Northeastern? It's because Northeastern enabled Mills to meet far more of our goals for an academic partnership than any other institution, because they're interested in the Mills programs, students, campus, mission, faculty, and potential to really change higher education in a broader way than we've been able to as a small independent college. It's also because they committed to enable us to support our current student, staff, and faculty. It's about the mission moving ahead, but it's also really what's happening right now. So we can support our community through a time that is still very difficult. The importance of the election that's underway that Dr. Martin mentioned at the top, the ongoing recovery from the COVID pandemic, the challenges of fighting racism here in the Bay Area and beyond, all those are very real for our community. And we're grateful we'll be able to sustain employment and opportunities through this period of time, rather than having to make further cuts and reductions in opportunities and options for our students and beyond. So that's sort of, the lawsuit is unpredictable. I don't know what will happen with respect to the next filings in that case. I do know that we're going to seek to in every way possible, stay true to the mission of Mills and be the kind of institution that we've long been and will continue to be through the Northeastern Alliance.
Great, thank you so much, I appreciate that. So there are definitely some questions around what would this look like? You know, where will we get our classes from? What programs will be here, will be accredited? So I can answer one for certain. Mills College at Northeastern will be accredited. That's a commitment we've made. We're an important partnership, an important goal to meeting our financial aid obligations and to you as students is to make sure we are accredited. So there's actually a very important committee that specifically is working on all of our compliance functions, accreditation and all that. So yes, we will be accredited. Will there be pre-med schools? Will there be certain programs? You know, I think it's important to continue to say, I know folks are coming in the room, so I do want to make sure to say again that, you know, the work the provost team and our faculty are doing are working really closely at what programs should be here at Mills. You know, what Mills College at Northeastern, you know, what are we committed to around our mission, what academic programs, and what will support that, and what do we do really well? We have very talented faculty, and they are going to be engaged in those conversations. So we can't answer those questions exactly yet, but we will continue to communicate. I do want to kind of on something President Hellman said, you know, we are looking at hosting opportunities for students to really participate in these conversations in a couple different ways. We know that students, different students have different amounts of time and opportunity. You have lots of obligations. So we want to make different kinds of spaces for students to participate and give their input, feedback, participate on transition groups. So we'll be communicating out to students different opportunities, everything from focus groups that'll happen in November, where you can come and talk a little bit more about some of these exact questions and how we might come to the answers to these questions. Some will be more transition teams. We're looking at a group right now, referring to it sort of as sort of camp culture, land and legacy. To that point, what are the traditions that are important to Mills? What makes Mills Mills, and what ones do we continue and lift up and embrace and make sure are an important part of Mills College at Northeastern? Which ones need to be a little different, more inclusive? You know, we've continued to change our traditions to make sure they reflect the diversity of Mills students, and how do we do that and continue to do that? And you know, Mills has never been stagnant, right? Mills in itself started as a seminary institution, you know, religiously affiliated, transitioned in many ways over these next years, but there's been some threads, and we really do want to identify those threads for our students, alum as well, and figure out how do we continue those in a way that's meaningful for the students who are going to come after all of you as students, and continue to do that. So it's, you know, it's never the same. Institutions always change, but they continue at the heart and their mission, and that's really what's important, and we'll continue to do that. So that's, I think, an important part of what we're trying to frame. So we'll be getting information out. You can expect that to come through both the Dean of Students and through ASMC. They're committed to making sure student voice is really centered, and so we'll be working with them to get opportunities out to students and to be able to participate in that. So let's see. So, you know, I think we're still working a little bit on the pieces, but I think another question that has come up too, and we think about resources and support, you know, President Hillman, you mentioned a little bit about the factors of thinking about Northeastern as a potential partner, and maybe I think talking about how the factors that the board really centered on when thinking about an appropriate partner for Mills, and why that this, I think, rose that. We got a couple more questions. So I think that's come up again as well.
So there are, yeah, thank you for that. There are a lot of questions that, will this help with some of the struggles that Mills has right now? And some of which each of you experience in your own ways, and that you help us fix and resolve actually by raising them and working through the answers with us. It will help us immediately because we'll be able to continue to maintain and improve what we're doing with Northeastern support. The goals of the college were really focused on mission, people, and the campus. So the mission of the college to continue to create educational opportunities for those who might not be well served elsewhere, specifically to focus on women, students of color, students with less privileged educational backgrounds and identities and capacities that make them make other campuses not the best fit for them. We know that's something that Mills has done well, and Northeastern does too, and we want to sustain that moving forward. So we have a commitment from Northeastern to continue to seek to support the kinds of students we have right now, and also to grow the number of students we have, because the campus community thrives when we have more people, and it's gotten too small for the size of our campus, the size of our expenses. And enabling us to grow and serve more students will make a difference in how well we can meet the needs of individual students. The questions about how fast things will change, you don't have to do anything right now. You don't have to change any designations on any forms. We are Mills College as an accredited institution through this academic year, and we will communicate to you any changes on the horizon, but nothing changes as of this instant. We're still the institution that we have been continuing to serve you, and we have the benefit of the support of a stronger financial partner with the capacity to help us improve on some of the student-facing challenges that we have struggled to overcome. In terms of the scholarships, I just want to make a point. Mills, most of the scholarships that Mills offers are funded by our endowment. Our endowment is created by generous donors over the years who gave gifts to Mills that they intended to last in perpetuity, meaning they would be spent at a relatively slow rate. So there would still be money for people down the road to be able to have access to the resources that flow from those endowed funds. Those funds are restricted in how fast we can spend them, and they're restricted in how we can spend them. The largest parts of our endowment are dedicated to students. Those funds will still be dedicated to students. We don't actually have a choice in this. It's the law, and it's our obligation to our donors. So the endowment will be used to support Mills students on Mills campus into the future. And also another big part of our endowment supports faculty. It will continue to be used to support Mills faculty into the future. So the scholarships that depend on those resources and the expectations around financial aid, we expect to be able to meet all of the obligations that we've set so far. I just add too, in a merger, for those of you who have read or thought much about this, in a merger, the new institution doesn't just sort of purchase assets. It actually takes the institution as it is and assumes its liabilities, its obligations, its assets. So Northeastern will be obliged to do what Mills would have been obliged to do in terms of supporting our students and meeting the promises that we've made so far. And we very much look forward to being able to continue to improve on our ability to serve students during the time period ahead in this academic year, and then after Mills becomes Mills College at Northeastern.
Great, thank you for that. So, you know, I really appreciate there's the questions that are really, that feel broad, and definitely I appreciate the answering. And then, you know, I have questions from students like, will our logo change? Will we still be blue and yellow? Will we, these are really, I think they lift up to what is the identity of Mills and what will continue. And I think those are really important questions to answer. And I think those are some of the really important questions that we want students to engage with. Not only those, of course, but to acknowledge that our identity as a college, it will not be the same. And I don't want to suggest that it will. It certainly won't. You know, that this is a time of great change for Mills. And, you know, the legacy of Mills has been one of great change, and it will be different. And I think in talking with the divisional staff, we have been talking quite a bit about acknowledging that change can be difficult. You know, change can be difficult. You know, Mills College is really, really important in so many people's lives. I believe it can continue to be really important in so many people's lives, but it will not be exactly the same. in some fundamental ways that I think folks have determined are really important to their experience in Mills, and want to honor that this will be will be an opportunity, though, to make sure that we can lift up, embrace, and continue on in a different environment. One of the really powerful things we've talked about is, in a merger, in a transition like this, how do you ensure that you communicate those values and communicate that mission? And I look forward to working with students directly to be able to craft that in a way that we can live on, because I think that is really important to that. So, there's some questions, and I appreciate President Hillman, you naming, we had some questions around sort of FAFSA and financial aid and changing things. And we want to, reassure for students, do not change anything. Do not, update. There is no entity that you need to report to especially for the seniors. The 2022 will be your senior semester. If you're graduating in May or you're graduating in December, you're almost there. But yeah, you don't need to change anything for that semester. And we will make sure to provide detailed information about any steps that students need to take or any directions they need to take to make sure they're up to date, including info sessions. Our goal is to communicate in many ways, through the forum, through email, so with plenty of time. And we do hope, actually, one real goal for me is that we do know that throughout this past few years, some of our support services have struggled, and some students have named that and added a question about that. And we have, through attrition, through staff transition, through the ability to keep staff here, through paying them, through not being able to give raises, we have not been able to maintain a full staff. I would say the staff who've been here are working exceptionally hard and really do center students and try. But when you're short staffed, it does mean that we can't provide the kind of services we know students need to be successful. So I'm very hopeful that but being able to provide some stability will allow us to recruit, retain exceptional staff as well as faculty, so that we can better serve students from the financial aid process, through admissions, through all of those processes that'll be here on campus, housing, res life. And I do hope that through that, we can really ensure that we're addressing any concerns our students have brought to our attention. So that actually makes me very hopeful that we can better serve students in areas where we know we maybe haven't done as well as our students really need us to do at that time. So I did want to address that question.
Shakura, it looks like we're getting questions about Boston, and maybe I could try to address a few of those.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
So first, the point that Dr. Martin just made, we anticipate being able to support all of our students who are currently enrolled through your degree requirements, and we do not anticipate those degree requirements changing. That's part of the plan for Mills College students to be able to finish their current degrees. We don't expect to shift everything to Boston. We expect to run a college here that is a part of a global university. And so we haven't done this before. There's a lot of pieces yet to be worked out. This is the beginning of the combination process. But we do anticipate continuing to run functions here on the campus in coordination with what's happening on the other campuses, and creating opportunities for students and staff and faculty on those other campuses too. We anticipate the undergraduate program will be gender inclusive. So it will not be only women and gender non-binary students in our undergraduate programs, but it will be students of all genders in Mills at Northeastern's undergraduate programs. Our graduate programs will continue to be gender inclusive, as they long have been. Those graduate programs, some that will continue some that will begin will be new programs, we imagine, and many that will continue, we anticipate, will be existing Mills programs, and our faculty are working together to work out the details around that. The tuition will be a part, setting the tuition and all those pieces will be a part of the transition process moving ahead. But we anticipate, as we've said a few times, I want to be clear, no increase in the anticipated cost for the students at Mills to complete their degrees at Mills College at Northeastern. The discount on graduate programs is a benefit that Northeastern offers to its undergraduates, and we anticipate Mills College graduates will be able to access that discount on graduate programs of that are run through Northeastern University's various campuses moving ahead. In terms of our own leadership, the campus leadership will stay the same through the year ahead. We are subject to our Board of Trustees. Our Board of Trustees, which has been fully apprised of all of the financial details, consequences, and possibilities during years past and in this current very pivotal year, the Board of Trustees will continue to govern Mills College. It has fully vetted and considered this alliance that it has now approved, the merger with Northeastern University, but it also reviewed and assessed many other opportunities that came Mills' ways in the few years that I've been here at the college. The Board of Trustees of Mills will not continue, though, to govern the college after the merger takes effect, because at that time, there won't be an independent Mills. Mills will be part of Northeastern University. And the governance structure will run through Northeastern University. The Mills Institute, however, that Dr. Martin mentioned earlier, the Mills Institute is a separate entity that Northeastern has agreed to fund, and it will sustain the mission of Mills College along with the programs at Mills College at Northeastern. And it's also designed for longevity and impact and holding fast to Mills values and traditions and legacy. So the Institute is an important part of this going forward, and we anticipate it will focus on students, provide more opportunities to students, as well as a greater platform for Mills to share its values with the rest of the academic community across Northeastern and the rest of the world.
Great. Thank you, President Hillman. And I think just something that I've talked a bit with our students about when they've asked is the Mills College Board of Trustees is made up of 70% alums. So 70% of the trustees currently are alums of Mills College, including recent trustees, recent graduates. So we have two positions that are considered recent graduates, an undergraduate student and a graduate student are included in that count. And trustees are not paid. They actually have a financial obligation to give back to the college. And so they're one of our largest giving bodies that give back to the college. And they are not paid to be in their role as part of the trustees. So that's just some statistics about being a board of trustees. It's similar for any nonprofit board as far as how they work. So I just wanted to give those statistics when folks asked. So I think, there's been a couple folks have come in late, but some common additional questions, particularly one about, maybe we could briefly answer Associate Provost Chung, sort of registration for spring and how any of our spring courses or offerings would be impacted. A student asked about that, which kind of also then dovetails into what it will look like for enrollment for next year and how this could impact classes for next year for our graduate programs in particular.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. So spring schedules are now being put together and will be available at the end of October, early November, when registration happens again. And we anticipate that this year will run as normal. So faculty are now putting in their thoughts and creating the schedule for next semester. So I think that is going to be pretty similar to what happened last year. The following year, however, we will have to discuss and put a little bit more thought into. And currently, our faculty members are working together to create, a collaborative process and coming up with programs and programs that actually make sense, during this transition. And very soon we will be meeting with Northeastern partners as well to talk about the upcoming programs that we could create together. So there's a lot more to be done. And we will keep you updated as the process goes on this semester.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So one of the conversations specifically talks about the differences with Northeastern and the demographics specifically around Mills and how we intend to work on that. And President Hillman, I thought maybe you could talk just briefly about particularly some of the language that working with around communicating the mission and our commitment to the students that we historically serve here and how that's been framed into the conversation with Northeastern.
So if Northeastern already served the kind of students that Mills served, Mills wouldn't be nearly as attractive a partner because Northeastern is interested in being able to better serve a broader range of students, including the students that Mills actually already has and wants to continue to support. We fully anticipate being able to continue to support the kinds of students we have here. And we also fully expect to maintain not the same culture and atmosphere that we've had in the past, but a distinctive one within the Bay Area, within the state of California with all of its higher educational needs, and within the world. And we expect to bring that to Northeastern. Bringing our staff, faculty, and students with us into this transition ensures that we will make Northeastern a different place, and we will make Mills College at Northeastern a different place because of our presence here moving forward. I understand there's a lot of loss that's involved with this kind of change. I just want to pause and acknowledge that as a real part of what many people are experiencing right now. I do view this as a very positive step for Mills College because we have not been able to support our students in all the ways we have wanted to in recent years, nor have we been able to support our staff and faculty as we've wanted to. This gives us the chance to do that. And it involves loss and not continuing some of the ways of being and learning that we've actually had at the college as an independent, historically women's college. So I do understand that frustration. I also know that our relationships with some parts of the alumni community are fractured now because of this potential change. And that's a difficult place to be for any institution. Our graduates are how we project into the world. They're treasures of the college, as are other things that are treasures of the college. In recent years, we've had to let go of treasures of the college to try to manage our operating deficits. It's time to come up with a more sustainable model, and that's what the Northeastern Alliance does for us. So I do see that this change is very difficult and will not proceed with full consensus. There's a variety of perspectives and opinions on what's happening. And I look forward to bringing people together in a process that enables us to realize the very best of Mills College through this transition and well beyond. The board has been fully engaged in the process. Trustees, let me just reiterate, trustees are not compensated. They're donors to the college. And the AMC has been a valued partner over the long term with Mills, and we're going to continue to try to work together with the AMC. We continue to fulfill all of our obligations with respect to our relationship with the Alumni Association of Mills College, and we'll continue to do that into the future, including supporting alumni after the Northeastern merger takes effect.
Great. Thank you so much, President Hillman. I know some folks have come in a bit during the middle, so I do want to reiterate, go back to just a brief question from the beginning was about transfer partnerships. We have held off making an announcement about transfer opportunities to make sure we could include opportunities with Northeastern. So now that we have some additional information there, you can expect information to come out. We said in September, so we're still in that time frame, but I think ideally we're now able to communicate transfer partnership opportunities that include Northeastern. And so those will be sent out soon to students, and then you can meet with your faculty advisors, the academic navigators, and there'll be information about who to speak with about your specific area, what you're interested in, and every school will be a bit different. So we want to make sure that you reach out and have that one-on-one conversation with an advisor about transferring if you choose to, or what opportunities will be here as part of Mills College at Northeastern. So I just want to reiterate that as it's come up with some new questions. So one question too, specific to our NCAA and our sports. Mills College is a Division III NCAA school, and this is a great question in that we don't have a concrete answer right now, because this agreement just allows us now to start having that very specific conversation. What will it look like to have sports at Mills College? What kinds of sports will we have? Will we be an extension of a D1 school? Really, and the folks that will start doing that will be the experts in that area. We have great coaches and athletic staff here on campus. They'll be connecting with the coaching staff and the teams and the compliance folks at Northeastern and talking about that, and also engaging student athletes and that are here with us currently around what opportunities they have and communicating that way. So this agreement really is the start of a process in so many ways. And I appreciate what President Hillman has said about that. There's a lot of work to be done. It's the start of a process. It's an opportunity to now provide this more concrete information. So I think that's important to know that we really are. That's why when lots of amazing questions, and this is really where we start to collect those and be able to then cultivate those answers and get those out to students. So I do really encourage you post this session too, to share your questions. You can send them as students to Dean of Students. You can also send your questions to questions at Mills. It actually, if you search Mills transition, questions at Mills will come up. You can communicate to that email. Happy to do that. Either way is fine. We want to make sure to continue to collect your questions and continue to provide support around that transition and timeline. I know that I think in a framing too is there was a conversation about what other town halls and opportunities will we be having to work with students. I'll kind of just reframe that for folks who've come in towards the middle or end. This is the first conversation this semester. We will be sending out a schedule of dialogues, focus groups, meetings, input sessions throughout the semester. We'll be highlighting specific folks as we get more information about opportunities, as we have specific questions. We'll also be tailoring those conversations as we work more with our academic partners and think about the kinds of conversations, because we do know that our students' time is really valuable, and we want, for example, our grad students to be able to come give input on graduate related topics. And so we'll be tailoring some of these town halls and focus groups to specifically allow students to make sure to, be able to know that their time is really valuable and that we're asking them questions that are highly relevant to their experience here at Mills. And like I said, we'll also be providing other ways that aren't in person, virtual opportunities to provide feedback, either by email and some surveys and events and things like that. So we want to make sure that everybody can kind of engage in different ways. Let's just double check. All right, I'm just reading through our questions that are coming in. There's sort of a question I think it connects to, I think really thinking about, as we talk a little bit about what the Mills College at Northeastern and that piece, there's a question specifically around financial aid and that financial aid impact. And we've talked a little bit about how students' financial aid will be impacted. And for students, as President Hellman said, for students with us this year, you're at Mills College, your financial aid package was given to you for the semester. As we always say to students, unless you have personally or your family substantial financial changes, but in the positive or negative, you can expect a similar package, but you can always meet with the financial aid office and ask those questions and meet with them and talk with them, set up an appointment through the website and talk with them about your anticipated award for spring, and they can guide you. The commitment with Northeastern is specifically to make sure that students are able to complete their degrees, not making an additional financial burden on them, with the same caveat that your financial situation doesn't change significantly from the FAFSA. We do, and we'll continue to use that data, just as we all do. We're required by the Department of Education. So we'll use that and are committed to making sure you can graduate in a way that doesn't significantly change that. So I think that was a great question. And I think that answered that piece. So there is a specific piece about the diploma and about what it will be like. So we have a doctoral student who's going to be with us here for a bit and talking about like, what will that look like? What will be a diploma and how that relates? And I think that's one of those questions we're navigating and figuring out what will that look like? And so we hear that. That's one of those questions where it's how's Mills College at Northeastern show up? And so we're going to highlight that question. We have a team who's sort of working on specifically financial aid, those student records kinds of questions. So thank you for that question, and we'll make sure to do that. I think the last question, that I think is really core to a lot of these questions is, why couldn't Mills College remain specifically a women's college here in the landscape and or as part of a women's college nationally? And I think part of our final comments maybe can offer President Hellman just sort of a picture around sort of, our vision, our mission, and how that relates to what we're trying to accomplish around sort of racial and gender justice in this new model.
And that's a great place to end, because it does run to what Mills has been and what Mills will be into the future, and actually what Mills is right now. Mills, as it broke the barrier to opening to transgender students, the first of women's colleges to do that, it started to address a large question of what gender equity meant and what equity and inclusivity meant for colleges and universities at a time when we haven't really fulfilled our goal of providing the kind of leveling up that students whose identities disadvantage them in some worlds want from higher education. To be honest, overall, we have not managed to make lots of headway on that. And having spaces like Mills College has been crucial to many people finding their path, the support that they need in order to launch, to find themselves, to find meaning and impact in their lives. Mills has stood fast as a women's college for a very long time. And we have done that notwithstanding many structural changes around us in higher education and new understandings of gender and gender equity that start to change what it means to be a women's college. So we view this as an opportunity to take the very best of Mills. That is our commitment to women's leadership, to gender equity, to racial justice, to anti-racism, to recognizing Indigenous peoples in the past, in the present, and in the future on the very land that we're occupying right now here at Mills. This is a chance for us to bring that to an institutional partner with a stronger foundation that will enable us to support our community the way it deserves to be supported right now, this very year, which is a year of financial crisis for Mills, and into the future, the medium term, and into the long term, building new ways to meet the goals that Mills has long had. So the question, the remaining, none of the partners to whom we spoke, who had the resources to help Mills, could have sustained Mills as only a women's college doing something very similar to what it is right now. And that's been a goal of Mills for a very long time. This is indeed a different direction, and it's a way to bring that mission and that purpose and those people into the future with us as Mills College at Northeastern.
Okay, thank you so much, President Hillman. I appreciate it. I just want to acknowledge everyone taking some time. I know many of our students and folks with us have 1 o'clock appointments. So I did want to just appreciate President Hillman, Provost Hardaway, Associate Provost Chung for being here, and for the wonderful staff, Michelle and Sin and Carrie, for collecting all of your questions. We do have those collection of questions. As I said, we'll be using those to inform frequently asked questions that we're going to craft to make sure we get those up for students. So we'll get some time to do that. And we will be making sure to communicate additional opportunities for conversation, more dialogue and or town halls and presentations throughout the semester. So appreciate your time being here with us, and also acknowledging we're just starting a process of visioning this in collaboration with all of our stakeholders, all of the folks who really do love Mills and want to see a Mills that it's financially sustainable and continues to meet those missions. And I know that's core to the Division of Student Life and making sure we can serve students way into the future. So I appreciate your patience as we navigate this together, and the time for all of our folks here, and the time of all the students as you're in the middle of classes and trying to complete your academic goals this semester. And we'll be in contact soon, and we look forward to more information and more opportunities. So thank you.
Thanks, Shakora. Thank you, everybody.